Tales from the wild. Stories from the heart. A journey into the mind and soul of fired-up business professionals where they share their vision for the future. And hear from a different non-profit organization every month as they create awareness of their goals and their needs. Dive into a world of untamed passion as we join our host, Shireen Buerta, for this month's episode of Friends from Wild Places.
And I have another and Shireen, you can definitely ask Celeste more, is your area of practice for example, for helping people with, like, for example, let's say stopping smoking or like releasing triggers, or do you get involved at all with stage hypnosis?
I do zero stage hypnosis. I thought I might do it because my background is entertainment, the radio.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna launch the stage hypnosis side of things from this podcast. So okay, clinical.
I'm more like what you might call a clinical hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To add to what Tanya was saying, that's pretty much the misconception of hypnosis for me growing up. That was all I knew about it, and I think it's a little bit taboo because I don't think there's a lot of people that understand what is hypnosis, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But like the one misconception, seeing it on stage, I think people thought this, whatever this person was doing to these people was some sort of magical phenomenon or voodoo or something, and people were scared of it. People were actually afraid of it. What can you say to that misconception?
As to it being magical, so I don't do anything magical, and I certainly don't try to make hypnosis look that way for that very reason. It scares people, and I will say that it can seem like, because it's phenomenal, it still astounds me today. So that's where it's like, oh my gosh, even in my office, we see massive change. As far as stage and what I do and the difference, stage hypnotists are entertainers. A lot of times people on stage, they have been drinking, they want to have a good time, and some of them are acting, not all, some of them are acting, and the stage hypnotist has somebody who's acting very well for entertainment, he's going to leave that person up there. But he also needs a certain kind of subject. And I see these subjects very rarely in my office because I'm not looking for them. Maybe I have more than I'm really aware of. But there's a type of subject that is just really good at going into hypnosis really quick, setting everything aside and following instructions like that. And sometimes there's people like that who are they're shy, and this is their chance, and they're drinking. It's their chance to really let loose. And these are the ones that really astound people because they'll go up there and they'll be like, but I know her, she would have never done that. And then she does, and she's loving it, and she gets the chance he'll give her the chance to quote unquote forget. I don't know if that's really true that they're able to forget for very long, because usually that means you have put it in the subconscious, so it's in there. It might come out later and bite you. So I don't really like what they're doing there. But that said, the whole stage thing is very interesting. Now, for me, because I have people, they're skeptical, and they call me and they're like, I really want to do this. I have this problem. I can't get help anywhere else with it. I've tried everything. But Celeste, I just got to tell you, I'm very skeptical. And that is because of the magical thinking built around hypnosis, either from stage or from Hollywood. Hollywood has done a very big disservice for the profession of hypnotism. But so when I have these clients, I just tell them that they're really smart because they're seeing that it's bogus. It's not real. It's just, in particular for Hollywood, it's just a story. And that's why they're feeling like, they're not believing it. So I tell them, let me show you how believable it can be. Let me make it believable to you and practical, and then you won't be bothered, and then you can feel fine about it, and you won't be skeptical. And I'll show you step by step as we go through it. I can go into a little bit about how I do that if you want, how I make it believable, whatever you'd like. But that's my talk on the whole magical thing.
Yeah, if you can share with us a little bit as far as, how that process works, that would be interesting.
I would love to. So, to me, as I said earlier, hypnosis is an ability you slip into whereby you're in this area where you can access deeper information. But the same area is where you can put in information to have a deep effect on you. All right, that's what you're doing. We're doing it all the time. For instance, the other day I was making pancakes and my grandmother's face came to me. Now, my grandmother's face wasn't in my mind very often, so it was kind of surprising. It made me step back for a moment. So what happened was I slipped into that ability where that information is. I slipped into that ability spontaneously. We're doing it all the time. If anything's coming from a deeper part of you, you've slipped into your hypnotic ability, your subconscious access ability. So the mind works by association. I was making pancakes. My grandmother used to make me pancakes. So the subconscious provided this for me, slipped in spontaneously to somnambulism, a deep state of hypnosis whereby imagery can come up. So now the other aspect of it is I got something random. When I work with my clients, they're not going into hypnosis spontaneously. I'm taking them there on purpose, step by step. So that's a difference, but you can see how the mind naturally does this. So it makes it easy for me. I know what it does. So then I'm asking it not for something random, but something specific, because I know it can do it after having worked with clients for years. And then I know that it works by association. So I'm going to have my client bring up a feeling that they just don't like, a feeling that they want to get over that's connected to their problem. When they bring up that feeling, and they can in a hypnotic state, because they can just go to an earlier time when they felt that way, maybe yesterday or something, then I'm going to say to the subconscious, this is the feeling. We want to find the connection, what's associated with it in terms of moments from their life that need to be looked at again. Because what happened was the client that I'm working with has looked at something in an erroneous way, and it has caused this problem. And so that's how it is practically laid out. Instead of going into it spontaneously, we're going into the hypnotic state in a very targeted, specific way on purpose. And instead of bringing up something random, we're bringing up something specific and targeted. And then we're just using that natural ability of the mind to work by association, knowing that it works just like a computer. Everything is there in terms of the life, a client's life being recorded. So everything that ever happened to you is recorded, plus what you thought and felt about it. The subconscious, to me, is that recording and the keeper of that recording. And to me, that recording and the keeper of the recording, upon the right practitioner, has the authority to bring this information and share it. And that authority is given by a higher power. That's the way I see it.
Wow.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. So I have a question that always has kind of come up, and I've actually researched the answer, and I still not there. So I'm going to throw the question out to you, Celeste.
Okay.
So when I'm going to use myself as an example. So if I, let's say, walk into an environment and have that quote unquote gut feeling or visceral response that something is off, and it produces, let's say, an emotion of fear, or even, maybe outward, crying or something that triggering. In that moment that's happening as an adult, is that triggering, in your opinion, something that may have happened on a younger life? Or where does that gut feeling come from, I guess is the question. So we all have gut feelings, people, sometimes we like people or we don't, or you're going into an environment or maybe a party or something, and something is just off and you feel it. So can you shed some light maybe just from where you sit, from what that might be?
This is one of the main things that a human being needs to do, is discern the difference between intuition and a trigger.
Okay.
Yes, because sometimes intuition is correct, and that's coming from a higher part of you, right? Sometimes it is childhood stuff, old stuff. Let's say you feel afraid of a person. In some way, you're reminded of someone else that might have hurt you. And sometimes there's a combination, like you're reminded of that because there's some intuitive, like something's nudging you to, and that's intuition, to look at this person, and then it's helping you by helping you remember the feeling. So it can be a combination or one or the other.
Mm.
That's fascinating. Fascinating.
It is.
I think you might have a client out of this podcast. So
One or two more clients.
Deeper.
So you'll find it fascinating. It's just the most amazing thing to learn about yourself in this way.
Right.
And you don't even have to have a good memory. This is what I love about it. People are like, yeah, but I can't remember anything, Celeste. Well, the beauty of it is you do not have to remember a thing. Just like when I was making pancakes and the imagery came, moments from your life will come up. And it will be either moments that you already know about, but they haven't been resolved, and that's why they're coming up. Or it will be moments that you haven't thought about in a long, long time. Those are neat when they come up. It's like, wow, I know we're on to something because I haven't thought about this in a long, long time.
Right.
But my favorite things are the moments that feel like you're making them up. They're just so like foreign to you. Like, can this be real? I think I'm making this up. Because those are usually the early moments that not even psychologists can get to. And that's where hypnosis really shines. We treat each of these moments as if they're real. A lot of times we can't really tell you that they're historically correct. Maybe some of them are metaphors, but in each of these moments is that same feeling that we're finding all the way back. Because remember, we're starting off with a feeling that you just don't like. So at some level, it might be a slight bit of that feeling or a gigantic bit of that feeling, but we're going backwards in time to the root cause. So that's the whole point of bringing up these moments.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. And I mean, for me personally, there are a lot of suppressed memories in me that have only come up late in my adulthood, which is quite interesting. But also that feeling that you're talking about, there is a feeling that comes up for me when I'm having to deal with men in general. And that's, you're right, that's so much to unpack in just that alone. But before we carry on, I just want to pop in here with a little Buzzsprout ad. So Friends from Wild Places is a place to share stories from other business owners and professionals, a safe space to show your support for other business owners and entrepreneurs all over the world. We feature nonprofits every month to try and make a difference or give a helpline to someone in need. Do you have a message you want to share with the world, or maybe you just think it'll be fun to have your own talk show? Podcasting is easy, inexpensive, and a fun way to expand your reach online. To start your own podcast, follow the link in the show notes. That's Let's Buzzsprout know that we send you, and it also helps support our show. So the team at Buzzsprout is passionate about helping you succeed. So yeah, I mean, Celeste, thank you so much for all this interesting information that you're sharing with us. But is it possible that you can continue doing your services virtually? Or do you have to have that person sitting in front of you?
I do a lot of sessions virtually from all over the world. During the pandemic, that's the only way I was doing sessions because of the pandemic. No one wanted to be in touch. So that's when my virtual sessions really took off. And when I realized it works just as well virtually. And it works just as well virtually because at the end of the day, I have you close your eyes, I have you relax in so many words, and then I'm going to guide you to that place where you move into that ability to access information. And then I'm going to ask where it's going to come to you as something, that you become aware of, and then you're going to share it with me. We're going to look at it together, how it has affected you now, and we're going to look at it in a better way so that it no longer can be triggered anymore. So that's all done in your own mind, prompted by my voice. So it's not an energetic thing at all.
Wow.
And do you do like group events at all, or like, for example, like I don't know, let's just say people like support groups for some type of cancer or something? Do you do any hypnosis workshops, I guess it would be called, or no? Or are they more individual?
I want to. I really want to. I just haven't found. So one of my challenges in my small business is marketing and getting the word out, because I don't have a team. It's just me. So I scramble to find opportunities, and then I'm mostly just seeing clients, seeing clients, seeing clients. I did have a state licensed school for a little while. I worked with groups that way because I had students. And I would really love to do that again. And I'm looking for a way to do that. I'm looking for maybe someone who can work with me, a partner up with me, that kind of thing. But I also do teach at a national level every year at a symposium. So I'm working that way with professional hypnotists that want to advance in their careers and take their practice to another level and that kind of thing.
Well, let's have you put it out to the universe. So what would that group look like? Like, give us some of the listeners out there maybe have some folks in their circle that would like someone like you to, facilitate them for hypnosis. So what would that look like?
Well, I could do anything, but what I'm really interested in doing right now is taking those people who are really into the law of attraction and showing them how they can get so much more out of that by accessing their subconscious in various ways that I know they can't. I have a time tunnel technique that I use for people to do on themselves, how they can self-regress, how they can go to a place before the mind even started so they can program the future. There's just all kinds of different things we can do. And I would love to teach some things that I know that would really enhance the things that people are already doing, like the vision boards and the affirmations that they could do on themselves to work at home. So I'm looking for something like that, but it's my idea of how I'm going to do it is just beginning.
Okay. Well, I will definitely connect with you, because I think there's some potential for some just manifestation here. So I would love to be.
Love it. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I have a question. I had read a book many years ago written by Brian Weiss. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He was a medical doctor, right, and had a patient, and I think it was psychiatrist or psychiatrist, I think. And that's how he got into doing past life regression via hypnosis, right? Is my understanding from what the recollection of the book. And he got into doing like workshops with past life regression. So you touched on it a few minutes ago, as far as, so can people find out who they were prior to this life? Is that something that you would, or is your focus more on helping people like get over triggers and things?
My problem with past life regressionists is most of them are leading. They're leading. And the mind can confabulate. Now, I'm not saying it's all that way, because I've known a couple that were really good. And so what's happening there, I have no idea. Whether there's some kind of group consciousness they're tuning into. There certainly have been a few people that they've been able to check out. It's pretty hard to check out a past life, but in a couple of cases, they have been able to do that and it checked out. So it is quite fascinating. Sometimes people come to me and they say, I know just when this started, I'm pretty sure it was a past life because the psychic told me, that kind of thing. And Celeste, do you do past lives? I don't. And here's my reasoning for that. The idea of your life and past lives is you're going to be in this life to work on something from a past life. That's what you're here for anyway, which means there's going to be a natural beginning to something that happened in a past life here, and that this is the perfect place to work on it. So when I work here, I get excellent results. Now, I did dabble in past life regression a little bit, and one of the things I didn't like about it, even though I tried to do very clean, non-leading past life regression, well, when you do it that way, a lot of times people don't really go anywhere. They need to kind of have the imaginary part of it, the fantasizing part of their mind really going, and then things start coming up, whether it's real or imagined. That's one problem. And so when it comes to past lives, it's hard to figure out how many we've had. Like, what if you had 10,000? You could see me for 20 years and we might not ever find the real beginning of it. That's a problem. Sometimes people, they want to do past lives because there are people like this. They don't really want to work on the real issue that happened in this life. They don't really want to go there. They'd rather tiptoe around it and have some fantasy about it. Well, I'm not like that. If you come to see me, we're going to fix your problem directly. We're going to go to the source of it. And so, so it's just not for me. I've seen the mind confabulate too much. I've seen it make up things, and then the client thinks it's real. When that happens, there's a danger. If a hypnotist is doing that, there's a danger of false memory syndrome. And so a hypnotist needs to be very, very careful not to lead in this life or any other life. So I do very clean hypnosis, and I don't do that. That said, I do think there's probably something to it, and I find it interesting, but I'm not as intrigued by it as most hypnotists are, because I'm just about really fixing things in the shortest amount of time possible. And that just usually takes you you can go down a rabbit hole.
Right. So can you give us an overview of maybe some of the types of clients, some of the issues that people have presented to, and things that you do treat that maybe our listeners might be able to work on some of the issues, and hearing this podcast might be like, we need to call Celeste.
Yeah. So I'm not a medical person at all, nor am I a mental health person. I have no license. I only have certifications in hypnosis and a lot of experience. So there's some words that I have to be really careful about not using, because if I do, then I look like I'm trying to present myself that way, and it could be a lawsuit. I could be breaking the law. One of the words is treat. I don't treat anything. That's what doctors and therapists do, but I work with. So I'll tell you some of the stuff that I work with.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to be really clear with my language. So any habit or behavior that you don't want to have anymore, just look at what you're doing. I can help you get over that. I can help you stop that. Like, let's say you're eating, especially too much behaviors, eating too much, vaping, smoking, nail biting, skin picking, hair pulling, ruminating. That's a too much thing. Sometimes it's not because of a habit more than it's because of emotional stuff, but that the habit and the emotional stuff can be kind of intertwined. Now, another thing that I do is I help people begin things. So procrastination, anything you want to start, but you just can't start. I can help you start a diet. I can help you write your novel. I can help you go to the gym. I can help you clean your house. I can help you do your paperwork. I can help you answer your emails. I can help you put your resume together. These things that you just can't get yourself to do, but you're burning to do them.
Tune in next week for part 3 of Friends from Wild Places.
You've been listening to Friends from Wild Places with Shireen Bueta. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast from the links to catch every episode and unleash your passion.